How is this smoother than this?
It's interesting, right?
What?
Yeah.
And you said this is a higher proof?
118 proof. It's almost 20 proof points higher.
What? Alright, today we got a fun episode for you guys because we're talking whiskey.
Hey, I'm John Chappelle. I'm the head distiller here at Still Austin. I'm about to give you guys a tour of the ins and outs of the distillery. Outside, we have our 3 silos. Those are filled with corn and rye. Everything that we use is 100% Texas grown grains. From the silos, it goes into the mill room. In the mill room, this is where we weigh out all of our raw material for whatever the mash bill is. And then we have a roller mill that mills it. The roller mill is really good for us, for our column, because we can control the level of bricks and alcohol in our mash, and that helps out our column, being able to control that. And then from there, we're gonna go inside, and all the milled material then goes into another grist tank that looks just like this. After we're done weighing and milling the grain, let's go take a look inside the distillery. After it's done milling, like I was saying, this is now all our milled material. And then it gets milled into our cooker. Cooks usually take about 6 to 7 hours to complete from start to finish, and then we could go take a look up top. So what we're looking at here, this is our 100% rye mash bill. And really the whole entire point of mashing is just breaking down all those starches into fermentable sugars. So when we pitch yeast, the yeast is happy and we can produce the amount of alcohol that we want. So they're 4,000 pound cooks, and it's about 6 pounds of yeast and 4 pounds of nutrient. You have a certain doses of enzymes at certain times to further help breaking down those starches and sugars, different hold times and whatnot. For the rye mash bills, we take up to 190 degrees. This right now is probably about 150 degrees because we're cooling. And then the rye bourbon mash bills, you have to take up to 200 degrees. So this is our new fermentation room. What you saw over there was our old 6 fermenters. We just recently finished a build out now to go 24 hour. So we just had to add 6 more fermenters. Typically our fermentations last about 3 to 5 days. And then if you want, you can see an active fermentation. This fermentation right here was finished at about 8 o'clock last night. So that's a nice, healthy, active fermentation. And then when you go to about a 3-day fermentation, it's gonna look more like this. As you see, it's pretty much done fermenting. It's not nearly as active. So we fill right now doing double shifts. We fill 2 a day.
Okay.
Then when we go 24 hour, we're gonna fill 4 a day and empty 4 a day. So every single time we're cooking, we need to be distilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of whiskey. Yeah. Yeah. Here, this is our 100-gallon pot still. This is where our gin is solely made. So a unique thing that we do, we make our own base in-house. So we don't outsource the base for the gin. Usually it's just a grain neutral spirit, which 192 proof. What we do, we have our own mash bill, which is 70% rye, 30% corn, and then we distill it off the column at around 185 proof to get some of that rye characteristic that we're looking for. And then instead of it being like a typical London dry gin, it's a much more citrus forward gin. And you're gonna get some of that rye characteristic from the base. But once again, everything grain to glass, done in-house. That's something that we really strive for and we believe in. For us, it's, it's also just touching a different market. There might be some people that don't necessarily enjoy whiskey, or if they're just getting into distilled spirits, maybe they want to start with something clear. So this is something that we can offer first, and then get them to venture into whiskey, or if they just enjoy gin, that's awesome too. This is actually the recipe for the Musician, which is our high rye bourbon. So it's 70% white corn, 25% rye, 5% malted barley. Yes, so this is our 42-foot continuous column still from Forsyths in Scotland. There's many column stills in North America, but this is custom designed by a master distiller, Mike Delavante. He's been in the business for 50 years. He was the master distiller for Appleton Rum, and now he does custom stills. So a few unique things about this column versus others. You have your stripping section, but then you also have your rectifying section. We have 12 plates instead of a traditional column that will have 2 or 3 rectifying trays and then a doubler. So it just gives us that wide range of control. We can distill all the way down from 110 to 120 proof if we wanted to, and then we can make that base and a very neutral spirit of 185 to 190 proof. So that 100% rye mash bill you saw in the cooker, after the fermentation, it gets pumped into the still, and now this is what we have. We distill around 130 to 135 proof, and if you would like to try it, you're more than welcome to. All right, so.
I'm gonna need a stool for that one. I know my height. Oh my God, that's sweet.
And it's it's very interesting, right? For it being 100% rye, it does have a lot of sweet characters. 100% rye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like the part that everyone just loves. Okay, so from the column, from that spirit safe that I just showed you, it goes into the product receiving tank, which holds all of our hearts. And then from there, it goes into our barrel filling head tote. So we'll proof it. Essentially, we're just gauging the proof, and then we barrel at 116 proof or 118 proof, depending on the mash bill and what we're going for. So after we get that proof, we'll gauge it. We'll add our RO water, circulate it, and then we barrel right here. We use all 53-gallon barrels from Independent Stave and a Char 3. Once we're done with the barreling, we'll band them, we'll stack them, and then these are just waiting to get transported out to our warehouses. Okay, so what we have here, this is our flagship high rye bourbon. It's a 70% white corn, 25% rye, 5% malted barley. It's aged for about 2.5 years, and it's bottled at 98.4 proof. A unique thing that we do in this distillery is an old cognac technique called élevage. And within the élevage technique, there's a process called slow water reduction. And what we do, right when the barrel hits about 2 years old, we'll open up every single barrel and we'll dump about 3 to 6 liters of water into it, reducing it down very slowly. And what we're doing is we're reducing the risk of saponification. And that's essentially not letting the water and the alcohol bind properly. If you do it too fast, you'll get an off note, like a soapy note or a flat soda note. So that helps that. And then another benefit is all the characteristics you get when you're at a lower barrel entry proof. So when you hit that 114, that 110, that 108, you're getting a lot of those sweet characteristics like your vanilla, caramel, butterscotch, things like that. When you go to the cask strength is 2.5 years old as well. It's the same exact mash bill as the Musician, but it's untouched. It's at 118 proof. We hand select the barrels that we're going to use for the cask strength. And essentially what we want with the cask strength is it's the same exact product, but you know you're getting a completely different product. It's a lot more robust. The flavors are a lot more, they could be a lot more in depth, just a little more intense, a little more for like the whiskey aficionado that really wants to dive deep into it. And then what we have here, we do a Distillery Reserve series every quarter. And what that could be is a special mash bill that was like a one-off that the team and I were playing around with, and we wanted to just do something fun and unique. Or we'll do a finishing barrel like this one. So this is that 100% rye that I showed you how we were cooking and distilling, but then we finish it in a cognac barrel for roughly 6 months. And this, we did the slow water reduction process, but something that we do differently with the Reserve series, it will start at 118 proof, and we will just keep doing the slow water reduction until we think it's just pretty much at that point where it's perfect, and then we just stop it. So every Reserve series always typically has a different proof, and this one's 108 proof. As far as the gin, our gin, we do everything in-house. It's a 70% rye, 30% corn base, distilled off of Nancy, the column, at about 185 proof. And then we put it in that pot still and distill it about 155 proof and bottle it at 90 proof. And it's a lot more of a citrus forward gin. A lot of times you hear like, I don't like gin. And some of them, it could be London Dry. It's all preference anyways, but we just wanted to do something completely different. So by doing our own base and making it more citrus forward, making it a little more easier for someone that doesn't like gin to attract them to it. And it seems to be working pretty well.
And like I said, I think this is my first official time on record drinking gin.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that too.
Okay, so first we'll start off with just the Musician.
Okay.
This is the slow water
Okay.
flagship at 98.4 proof.
Ooh.
And then I'll pour the cask strength.
So it does have that caramel.
Yeah.
It's very, very forward.
That white corn is like a very like sweet, creamy, custardy corn.
That is so sweet.
It's got a nice
Very,
long
very
finish.
smooth. Yeah, yeah. Lingers well. Yeah,
Lingers
exactly.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so this one is?
So that's the cask strength version of what you just tried.
Okay.
So no slow water reduction,
Okay.
118 proof right out of the barrel. 20 barrel blend. These are all 20 barrel blends.
Definitely different on the smell. I want to say more like floral. Would I be wrong?
No, so there's nothing ever wrong
Okay.
whenever you're tasting or nosing something.
Mm.
That's like the unique fun thing.
Okay.
It's it's what you smell and it's what you taste. But yeah, I get a lot of floral and fruity characteristics out of our distillate.
How is this smoother than this?
It's interesting, right?
What?
Yeah,
And you said this is a higher proof?
118 proof. It's almost 20 proof points higher.
What? What? Yeah, like this just kind of washes really well on the tongue.
Yeah,
Almost no bite.
no bite.
That's what I'm saying. It's so smooth. Oh wow, I think this is my favorite. Okay,
All right.
I'm gonna kill those, by the way. I'm gonna finish those.
We're more than welcome to. All right, so this is the 100% rye cognac.
Okay.
Zuzu, a local Austin artist, hand spray painted every single one of the bottles.
Shout out Zuzu.
And this is 108 proof. It's about 2.5-year-old 100% rye whiskey, and then finished in a cognac cask for 6 months.
Almost perfumey, I would say.
Yeah, it's got a the cognac. I feel like really shines through with like that kind of like brandy grape.
Yeah, great,
Yeah.
great. Yep. Mm. That is so good.
It's the rye, and then the cognac just complements.
So this has way more texture. it feels like there's more texture on the tongue than these two.
Yeah, there's definitely that rye spice really.
Okay, so
you
that's
know,
what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's see if
Let's
you like the gin. So this gin's at 90 proof.
Mhm.
It's a little higher.
Okay.
But like I said, when we experimented with the proofs, kind of felt at a lower proof, it was lost.
Mm. Oh. Yeah, citrus.
Very citrus. Yeah.
Very, very citrus. Yeah, you could like put an ice cube in here, squeeze of lime, a little sparkling water.
Yeah, my favorite for gin is simple gin and tonic.
So I could drink this straight.
Yes, that's what I hear a lot. Yeah.
I could literally just not even ice cubes.
Right. Just
Like,
enjoy it straight.
Just enjoy it straight.
And then in cocktails, it really does pair really well.
Wow. And like, what is bringing out the citrusy note in this?
We use grapefruit peel for one of them. We use a couple of other different botanicals that help out. We use 3 total for the citrus.
You have probably made me a gin taster.
There you go.
This is definitely.
It definitely changes minds and perception of gin.
Well,
Sure.
like I said, it's not harsh.
No.
Right? There's not, like I said, I think in gin that I've had before, if I have them, I remember there being like a roughness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you said it was the juniper that it could have been.
Yeah, and it also starts out with a base too. Like what base are you using to help complement the botanicals?
Okay.
And then we believe like using our own base in house, having that control of what we want to do with it. The quality of the base is also very important.
So you go base first, and then off of that you go citrus. How much you want to add?
Yeah. Well, and we have like our full botanical load that we use every single time.
Okay.
But when we were first, seeing that what we wanted to do, we always wanted to do a base in house, but we're obviously very rye driven, so we wanted to keep the theme going.
Yeah.
But just having the control on that column and how smooth that we can make that base and it not being harsh going into the pot still is a plus.
Wow.
And it just complements the botanicals.
And is there a reason why you guys are so rye forward? Is there like a reason for that, or is just you like the way it tastes?
So Nancy really loves the way that it tastes, and I'm also a huge rye fan. So
you can't argue with Nancy.
Yeah, right. You can't argue with Nancy for starters. And then it's personal preference. We all really love rye here, so that's what we're going with. And we've done fun things like we released 100% wheat for a reserve series.
Okay.
We've worked with wheat before. But our main focus is rye.
And I'll say this much. I've had, probably more than 10 rye whiskeys in my life. But every single rye whiskey I have has that roughness to it. Almost like the burnt taste or the burnt feeling after you drink it. None of these have. So if you were to ask me if this was sweet or rye, I would say wheat. This is so smooth.
Yeah, they're very smooth. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you.
Like you opened up my world, not just to the different whiskeys you guys do here, especially with the rye, but even with just the gin. Like I feel like I could take a bottle home and just sit on the porch, read a good book, and sip on this gin, no problem.